The first Madden 23 update of the year is finally here, and this is a little bit different than we expected. Now, like any Madden update, you usually get some things that are fixed or improved, but you also have the fallout of the update, which usually will include something else going wrong. And the question is, what's going wrong now and what has been fixed? We're gonna cover all of that in this video and also dive even deeper into what to expect from the game now that this update is going through. And if you're new to the channel and you never want to miss out on any of these important news updates throughout the year, make sure to subscribe and turn the bell icon on so you don't miss these videos. So here's what happened today for the first title update of Madden 23. Now this is what's called an emergency update or emergency patch. This was not originally planned. Now what they did today is they did some tuning to pass block locomotion for tackles to get deeper against edge pressure, and that's one of the main things that happened, and we're gonna get even deeper into that in just a second. They also improved in-game flow. I have no clue what the heck that means. If you have any idea, comment below, but I just don't even know what that means. And they also did tuning and stability fixes, which they do with every single update, and again, we never quite know what that means. Usually we assume it has something to do with any type of desyncing or disconnect issues with the game, but typically Madden throughout the year continues to have a number of those, so I'm not really sure how well the tuning and stability fixes even work. Now there is a much bigger update coming soon, probably going to be next week before the start of the season. That is the first big planned update, the update that's going to do other things gameplay related, but also probably add new player face scans, the new alternate helmets, and things like that. That's coming next week. Today is more of an emergency patch, which is centered around the offensive line. As we know, the offensive line is really bad in Madden 23. I've been saying it since the beta. I said, hey, zones are better, tackling's better, offensive line is pretty bad, and it still is, but one of the biggest issues with the O-line was that the offensive tackles would not properly kick out, and this is what was causing the loop blitz to be so effective. Now, does the 3-3-5 loop blitz still work? Some people are saying that it does. I'm gonna see for myself. I've tested it a little bit, and I find that it's kind of inconsistent. Now, as you can see, they picked it up there on that play. We're just throwing the ball and throwing a pick, but you see, they did get picked up. Going into the replay here, you can see they still kind of get around pretty wide, but we definitely had time to get this off, and they did get picked up. Now, a lot of people are swearing that the loop still works pretty good. I only messed with it a little bit, though. It seemed worse to me. Well, right here, the right guy comes in free, so the left guy's getting picked up, but the right guy's getting in. So, I mean, technically that is better, but, I mean, at that point, I don't know how much better it really is. It's slightly better. Again, here he comes again. He's getting in free. And you also have to deal with the defensive line sheds as well. That's kind of the thing. Even if the loop gets picked up, the defensive line just sheds really good this year. So if you run this defense, you're still probably going to get pressure. And here we go again. We got a shed and the right guy still came in free. So yes, it's definitely a little better just off of this because they're not both coming in free. So that is a step. But if you went in to just fix this, I mean, it looks like that right guy's coming in pretty darn consistent to me. Jumping into a different formation here, and now they're both coming in free. So, I mean, I don't know. It seems like it still works. Let's try it again and see. So, okay, the left guy gets picked up. Right guy still came in free, though. Let's try blocking the running back, though, and seeing. Let's see if that will pick up the one guy that is coming in free. So, no, the right guy is still free. I'm gonna motion him to the right here. Maybe that'll pick up the guy on the right. And it does. Okay, so that's, I mean, that is an improvement for sure. Because you definitely couldn't pick up both guys before by just blocking a single running back. You had to block and then double team and then sometimes motion snap another blocker, and that's how you picked it up. Right now, it seems like if you block the running back on the right side, that will pick up the guy on the right, and then on the left, it seems like the left tackle's picking up the guy on the left a little bit better. So that's a good amount of time to pass. But the bigger issue here is what it means for the rest of the game. Because a lot of people are going to move on from the loop blitz now because it's not as powerful as it once was. And a lot of people were already moving on from the loop blitz because they've started to realize that there's faster blitzes in the game. The thing about the loop blitz is that at least you had 2 seconds to get the ball off. You could get to a second read. It was annoying to face every play because you had to do multiple things to block it. Setting up that protection every single play was the most annoying part about it. Now, this is the part that people don't ever think about when they complain about things needing to be patched. Don't get me wrong, the loop was a glitch and it should have been patched, absolutely. But the problem is when people complain about stuff like that, they also also don't think the next 2 steps ahead of what's going to happen, because now you're just going to see blitzes like this, which are much faster. You don't have time to even make a second read, and this is probably going to be the most popular defense you see now, which is the 4-3-6-1. And this has been good for, you know, the last year or two, but it's even better this year because what EA did was they actually made blitzers get off immediately, which they hadn't done that in the past few years. If you don't realize, EA made a change over the last few years where blitzing linebackers and defensive backs, they did not just immediately start rushing. They had the very slightest little delay, and that delay is what allowed a lot of times some of these blitzes to get picked up, or just delayed them that half second. But that half second is a huge difference between getting a pass off and not getting a pass off. This year, they went back and they said, you know what, blitzers are going to blitz right away, as they should, unless it's a design delayed blitz, which is not the case for every blitz. So now heat is harder to block, and these overload blitzes where people send 6 or 7 guys, you know, those blitzes should get in, especially if you're not blocking anybody because you have a numbers advantage. But they're just much faster this year because they actually accelerate. So now people are going to move on to the 4-3-6-1. They're going to move on to dollar. They're going to move on to dime. And what you're going to realize is that these defenses are way harder to go against than the loop. Again, don't get me wrong. The loop objectively should have been patched because that was a bug in the game. But what I am saying is the reason people complain about the loop is because it was just the popular thing that everybody knew on a basic level. Only the top players kind of knew about some of these other defenses. And now that the loop is less good, people are going to start more so migrating into these better defenses. And you're going to realize that the loop was annoying, but you could actually get some passes off. These defenses are much, much harder to get passes off against, and they're going to be much harder for you to score on. Within a week or two, you're probably going to wish the loop was still in the game. So just something to think about. That's why I'm usually team don't patch the game, because usually when you patch the game, the outcome is usually going to be worse more times than not. Something might get fixed, but then it opens a whole nother can of worms where something else breaks, or people realize that there's actually something better to use, and then they immediately start using that stuff. I stopped using the loop blitz after my first few games because I quickly realized how much faster the edge heat was. If I can get to the QB in 1.5 seconds versus 2 seconds, that is a massive difference in whether or not you're getting the pass off. And on top of that, it seems like other areas of the game have now further broken because of the patch as well. Ultimate Team is completely shut down. You can't even get into it because it has multiple problems right now. And of course, franchise mode still has their issues. I think some of those will be getting tackled in the first big planned update, but what they rolled out today kind of just caused a domino effect of other issues in the game to where Ultimate Team isn't even playable right now. And that's why I don't usually like updates. Yes, the technology exists to get these updates out and fix problems, and objectively you should do that. But the problem with a lot of these games, it's not even just a Madden issue. This happens in 2K, it happens in MLB The Show. When you patch the game, usually the domino effect is not worth what you fixed. Making the loop a little bit worse is not worth the other things that are gonna follow that. And that's the kind of funny part about it, is that they didn't even completely fix the loop. It's just a little bit worse than it used to be. You didn't even fully fix the thing that you went in to fix, and now the domino effect is going to make things a lot tougher for people and potentially break other things in the game. So that's just kind of a rant, but that's how I feel about it. So we're gonna have another update probably next week, so make sure you subscribe. Now, if you want to know what I think is the actual best defense to run right now, check out this video right here on the screen.